So if this is okay, the topic is solving grand challenges by rethinking business. I'm a simple businessman myself, and for me, I view these grand challenges, climate change, all these issues, actually in a quite simple way. When I look from the business perspective, if somebody makes money by saving the world, if a company makes profits for doing the right things, they will start doing it. They will also do it in the opposite way. So if they make money by burning oil, they will do so, and they have done so. But my key point in the next hour or so is that how to use business as a driver for solving these grand challenges. And in order to that, we need to understand the problem, the problem field of business and change. Couple words of myself. I'm a CEO and founder of my own company. I'm now in my second career. My first career was in the automotive industry. So I worked 10 years there. So I've seen the real industry as hard as it gets for 10 years. And now I'm working more in the consultation software business. In addition of being a businessman, doing business daily, I have also quite strong academic background. I'm interested in understanding how things are. I have a PhD in technology, I have an MBA in business, and now I've been studying a lot human psychology and how people behave and how people resist change. I believe two things which more or less guide my business decisions, my personal life decisions. I believe that courage is not the lack of fear. I believe that courage is accepting fear and having the courage to face it. So without fear, there is no courage. And I also believe that small things done by individual people can change the world. So I believe that you must be the change you want to see in the world. And this philosophy, I believe, will also be present in this presentation. So if we agree that business can be a great power for change, solving these issues, we have a few questions we need to understand about business. First, we will discuss a little bit that what is a problem. Then we will discuss shortly that what is disruptive business. Then we will discuss that how to find new businesses, and we will a little bit shed light over the question that why don't we experiment stuff? Why don't we try new businesses? And then in the end, if we have answered or at least understood these questions a little bit better, and we have found new interesting businesses, new ways to change the world, do we have the competence to do that? If we find a business opportunity, does our organization, our society, our study group, do we have the competence to do what it takes? So let's start with the question, what is a problem? And what is a challenge? You will find 1 million different kind of definitions for a problem, but it is some kind of question involving doubt. It is difficult, And most importantly, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's stuff that we don't know and we can't predict. So uncertainty is in the key of what is a problem. Problem is usually a negative thing. It is related, for example, crisis could be a problem. Challenge, in my perspective, challenge is exactly the same thing. It's just looking at the same problem from the positive side. Crisis and opportunity, a little bit similar kind of two sides of the coin. So the question here is that what is the problem that prevents us from solving these challenges? Albert Einstein said that if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solutions. So let's not go into solutions, let's discuss about the problems and the issues in business. Our second question, what is a disruptive business? What is disruption? Disruption is when something changes, something existing is broken by a new way of doing something. Disruptions are always huge business opportunities, and a good growing place for disruptions are found from crisis. This is a Chinese symbol, Chinese word that means crisis. The exact same symbol, word, means opportunity. So in Chinese language, there is no difference between a crisis and an opportunity. And this is actually what my company is founded on. We try to seek unsolved problems that nobody else has yet solved, because we see that each problem is a huge business opportunity. This is what I see daily, every day in my work. We are so concentrated in running our business as usual in the old way that we do not see the clear solutions around us. So most businesses do not see anything around them. They do not see the open doors and the opportunities. They are so tied up in the operational execution of their running business. This video, I'm hoping that the web quality for you guys is enough so that you can also see the video. This video, if I would have 20 seconds to explain that what is disruptive business, this video would be that. Did you guys hear the sounds on the video, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is what a disruption means, that somebody with a new technology, with a new business model, with a new idea, with a new approach comes to the existing dominating market and does everything differently. And depending on which side of the disruption you are either the winner or you get killed. Simply as that. So that is a disruption. And now if we look this, we take an example of the music industry, the music business. The first way to listen to music without a live orchestra was having music on a vinyl disc. The business ecosystem, the market of music industry went in a way that you had a shop where you could buy these discs. Then you had a electronic shop where you would buy a player, and then a music studio would record these to the disc. And this is how the music ecosystem worked. This is how the market went. Then in the 80s, the digitalization started. The music went on digital form. It was data. But still, the music industry operated in the same way. We had discs, they were smaller, there was more music. We had players, and we had shops where we went and bought these discs. Nothing changed, even though technology allowed things to be done completely differently. So the whole music industry was bounded by their mindset that this is our business, this is how we operate, this is how the world goes. Apple redefined music. They launched iTunes, and in 2010, Apple became the world's largest music store without selling a single disc. So this is a disruption. Redefining what our business is. We have similar examples in the text processing industry. The old dominant players, Remington typewriters or IBM electric typewriters, they do not anymore dominate the text processing industry. There's Microsoft, Google Docs, and others. Instagram, Facebook, all these services, they have taken all the business away from the camera manufacturers, Olympus, Canon, all these others. Airbnb used the exact same technology as Booking.com. They just had an idea that let's start selling people's apartments. They disrupted the whole industry. This is disruption. Another good example of what happens when our mindset is too tied into the existing way of doing. This is a famous example between Kodak and Fuji. The digital camera came in the early 2000s. Both companies, these were the market leaders for manufacturing films for cameras. Digital camera made the film business die away. Nobody needs films anymore. What Kodak did, they were so tied up in the mindset that our business relates to photographs. They started doing all kind of stuff. They are now selling drones, t-shirts, eyewear, whatever related to that. Fuji understood that the same process that when sunlight comes down and hits the film, the ultraviolet light in the sun, it causes harm to the film. The image quality gets bad. That's why they mastered this process. That's why they were good in making films. But the same exact process happens when the ultraviolet light hits your skin. So Fuji was able to rethink their business, and they launched this kind of cosmetic series, Astalift, that prevents skin cancer. From the business perspective, what happened? Kodak did not reinvent their business. They were not able to rethink what their business really should be. In 10 years of time, their $12 billion business melted to roughly $1 billion. 90% of their business melted away in 10 years. Fuji, they were able, in 10 years of time, they were able to renew their whole revenue stream. So how we think of our business defines what our business is. So why am I talking about disruption? Why am I talking about these business cases? We should be solving grand challenges like the climate change. I will argue that the relationship between business and change is that business is the greatest power for change. Business is the greatest power for change, but it is also the greatest power for change resistance. I'll give you an example. We all know electric cars, the boom on electric cars. Most of us think that Tesla invented electric cars. They didn't. Actually, in the 19th century and the early 20th century, most cars were electric cars. The first electric cars were on the market already in 1884. Porsche made his first electric car in 89. So electric cars have been on the market for 150 years. In the 40s, there were different kind of electric cars on the market. But in the beginning of the previous century, the oil companies and the automotive companies they were able to make easier business with petroleum cars. That's why the petroleum cars took over the market leadership of electric cars. On 74, for example, city car, this was a new release that now we could have these electric cars in the cities. On the lower scale, we can see the volume, the amount of electric cars in the world. In 96, General Motors released the EV1, but it did not get any business attraction. Nobody wanted to buy them. In 2010, Nissan launched Nissan Leaf, which until last year was the most sold electric car in the world. They proved that it is economically feasible to manufacture mass production cars, electric cars, and there is a market for it. 2 years later, Elon Musk, with his co-founders who actually were kicked out of the General Motors project, they founded Tesla and they brought the Tesla Model S. And what happened here is that Tesla Model S started to challenge the best paying customers of BMW, Audi, and Mercedes. So Nissan proved that it is economically feasible to manufacture these. There is a market, and Tesla was able to show that we are able to address the most profitable portion of the market. Today, all major car manufacturers are releasing new models, electric models, every single year, dozens of them. Many project that in 2030 there are no more petroleum cars on the market anymore. So the technology, and as an automotive engineer, I can say that the technology of the electric cars, it's 10 times more simple than the petroleum cars, and it has always been. So there's no technological innovation here. It is just that Tesla and Nissan, they were able to build a business case. And when they were able to build the business case, the whole world followed. Now everybody is doing electric cars. So I rest my case. Business is the greatest power for change. In 10 years, we were able to make a huge transformation. If we agree this, now the big question is that how do we find these new businesses, electric cars or some other problems to be solved? How to find new businesses? If this would be a live keynote or a workshop, I would start asking people, we would have a little bit more time. I would ask you that, what is Amazon? What kind of company is Amazon? What is Amazon's business? Some might say that it's a bookstore. Some might say that it's an e-commerce platform. A software programmer would say that it's an IT service company providing cloud computing and different kind of services. A logistic company might say that they are a logistic company. They are already delivering packages with drones. They are challenging DHL, Schenker, and all the postal services. What is Amazon? Based on Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, Amazon is the world's biggest laboratory. They test, they find unsolved problems, and they test something. They experiment. And at some point of time, some of those ideas grow up to multi-billion-dollar businesses. Amazon is a test laboratory. Every day I get a question, how should we plan to make this new business? We want to enter the digital this and that, and what kind of plan do we make? New business is not found by planning. New business is found by experimenting. I'll give you an example. This is a comparison between the traditional management way that I don't know what kind of management principles you guys have learned, but in my times, 10, 20 years ago, a good manager knew exactly where we were going. So he or she could pinpoint the lake on the map, that this is where we want to go in the next 10 years or 1 year time. And then a good manager would break down this path into manageable projects or processes, and we would manage how well we pursue towards our target. This worked in the 50s, maybe in the 80s, but especially nowadays, world is changing a lot more faster. New technologies emerge every day, and the grand challenges we are facing are so complex that we do not know where we are going. We do not know, we can't pinpoint the position that this is where we are going to be in the next 5 years. We know the direction, yes, but we can't say that this is the place we're going to be. So in today's complex world, the modern way of thinking management and leadership is that we do something, we go direct to the customer, we collect feedback, we learn from that. We do again, feedback, learn. We run this loop. We have the direction that is roughly that way, but we make our next steps based on the previous steps, based on the learning. So in this navigation case, we would start going towards east. We would see the river. We would see that, okay, let's not cross it yet. We are still going east. Then we would find a good place to cross the river. We adjust our direction a little bit, and then we find a mountain lake, which is much better than the original one would have been. So we have the direction and we experiment. We do short scale, small experiments and learn all the time. How this relates to the traditional product management or product development model. Let's say that we would have the task to build a car. We would define the end result in the beginning, that this is how it's going to look like. And then we would break down, first we need the wheels and the axles, then we need the wheel base. Then we start building the chassis around it, and then we put all the steering wheels and the roof on top of it. What happens is that the end result is the first place where we have any kind of business. This requires extensive amount of investment, and this requires that we know for sure what the end result will be. The modern way of thinking product development or customer development would go in a way that we would discuss with the customer that, okay, you have a mobility need, you need to move somewhere. Let me build you a skateboard. And the customer is like, yeah, well, not so good because I fall off the skateboard. Then we put something that the customer can hold on to. Okay, now this skateboard already works. I can move around. Then at some point of time we learn that let's put some mechanics so that we can move faster. We make a bicycle, then we make a motorcycle, and the end result is a convertible car. The customer realized during this process that I don't actually want to have any roof. I love the wind in my hair. So the end result is better, and yet we were able to make business. It was profitable business on every step. We did not need massive investments. We did not need regulations. We were able to sell the first skateboard. So experimenting, and now coming back to Albert Einstein, the only source of knowledge is experience. Experience comes from experimenting. So new business is found by experimenting. Small experiments that drive towards the right direction. If we agree this far, then we have the big question that why don't we experiment? This is clear. No matter what mathematics, economical calculations you put, this makes perfect sense. And yet, very few companies, a fraction of a percentage of companies are doing this kind of experimental development. Why is that? Why don't we experiment? Why don't we just jump? Let's look at the human brains. This is a top view. We have the left side and we have the right side. Traditionally, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we thought that different sides of the brain were doing different tasks. That a mathematical equation would be on the left side and painting a artwork would be on the right side. Today's recent brain research shows that both sides of the brain participate in all tasks, in everything. But there's a huge difference in how they participate. The left side of our brain is wired and designed for clarity. Everything has to be clear. While the right side is programmed to be in touch with the impossible, complicated universe. It loves complexity. There are no clear things. That's our right brain. Our left brain looks for an answer. Everything has to have an answer. A problem needs to have a solution. While the right brain loves questions. The right brain loves to discuss about the problem without having to have the answer. The left side of the brain makes a plan. The right side of the brain makes experiments. This is how our Western culture has been built, especially business world. We have had the mindset, we have believed that it is the rational, it is the left brain that is the master. Everything needs to be clear. We have to have answers and we have to have a plan. You cannot go to a venture capitalist and say that I have a business idea, but I don't have any answers, I don't have any plans, and it's completely complicated. I don't have anything. I have a hunch that it's good. You will not get any money. You have to have a business plan. You have to have answers to every question. This is how our culture, Western culture, has been made. But the problem is that our brains, humans, work this way. Ian McGilchrist, in his book Master and His Emissary, which is actually quite a good book, the name of the book tells the whole story. The Master and His Emissary. Emissary, asiainhoitaja. So the right side is the master who leads, and the right side sends small, clear tasks to the left side, which the left side can calculate and return the answer that, okay, everything is clear. The right side is what is leading us humans. Let's take another projection of the brain, now this time from the sideways. The cerebral cortex, which is the dark, large area, that is where all the abstract thinking happens, cognition, memory. That is where we make decisions, rational decisions. The limbic system is the small, tiny spot in the middle of the brain. Here, most of the emotion, behavior, motivation are characteristics of this part of the brain. In normal circumstances, the cerebral cortex drives the system. So we make decisions, cerebral cortex leads. But our brains have been wired in a way that when we face danger, when we realize that danger is approaching, our limbic system takes over. There starts quick hormone release, which overrides the cerebral cortex, and the limbic system starts to lead us, to guide us. Simple example, we see a predator approaching us in the jungle. We do not have time to start to analyze that, is this a male tiger or female tiger or maybe a lion? No, the limbic system takes over and we run. We don't analyze, we run. This boils down to fear. So when we sense danger, we have fear. And fear triggers the limbic system. If we are afraid of something, we avoid it, we run away. We have two kinds of fear. We have conscious fear, something, for example, a person attacking us on a dark street or dark tunnel. Here, the source of the danger is crystal clear, and now our limbic system helps us. Now we can protect ourselves, run away, and it is useful. But then we have unconscious fear. Let's say a dark alley, a dark street. There is no danger, but yet our limbic system makes us to avoid that street. There's no reason. It's unconscious fear. We are not even aware of it. We just avoid it. So if we have unconscious fear, it's like the part of the iceberg below the surface. If we have unconscious fear, we do not have any power. We are driven by the fear. We just run away. In order to face the fear, we need to make the fear conscious. So instead of having these mixed feelings without any understanding of them, we need to discuss about our fears. We need to live, accept our fears, understand what we are afraid of, and then we can get the fear differentiated. Now this is conscious fear. And now we have the power to address this fear. I'll give you an example from my personal life. This is actually where I got introduced to the concept of fear, which is actually, that was one key theme in my PhD. And this is actually a huge understanding in how to sell technology, what I do daily, to understand fear. This is the place where I was introduced to fear. So this is Chirag in Norway. This cliff is roughly 1 kilometer high. And my friend called me that hey, Valtteri, let's go have a fishing trip. And I went to the toilet in the next 15 minutes 3 times. Because I knew that we were not going fishing, we were going to do a base jump or base jumps out of this cliff. And the idea of this base jump is that we jump out of the cliff and then we gather speed in free fall enough that we have wind under us so that we can fly away from the cliff. And then when we are far enough from the cliff, we open our parachute. I was afraid, and the way how I tried to overcome this fear was taking control of this process, to rationalize. I made a risk analysis like any proper engineer would do. So first risk, I flip on the exit. I will die in 3 seconds. I can't fly away. I can't catch enough of wind. I will die in 6 seconds. I start to pull too low. I don't have any altimeter, so I don't know when to pull. I just have a gut feeling. If I pull too low, I die. If I pull my parachute in a bad position where there's turbulence, the parachute gets tangled and I die. And you can imagine that rationalizing, trying to take control of this fear did not help much. It actually grew the fear a lot. What I did as the remaining only option is that I lived through the fear. I tasted how the fear tastes. And the thing with base jump is that if you are afraid, if you are even in a slight panic on this jump, you will die because you have to be relaxed. So for me, for 2 weeks, I just inhaled the fear. I thought of it. I did not try to control the fear. And at this point, when I was on the cliff, I was completely relaxed.
Have a good jump.
3, 2, 1. Woo! It was roughly a 16, 17 second jump, and now my parachute opens there just across the river. Everything went well. Fear prevents experiments, especially fear of losing control. This is the reason why we don't pursue new business opportunities, why we are stuck in our box. This is why the music industry was not able to renew itself. This is why the automakers were not able to make the electric car business. Fear of losing control prevents experiments. Now to the last point. If we more or less agree that we need to understand the problem better in order to find solutions, we need to think differently about our business to find these disruptive business models. We find these new business opportunities by experimenting, and by facing our fear, we are able to give room to experiment. And let's assume that we find a new business opportunity. We find an unsolved problem. Let it be the climate change or the Baltic Sea. By the way, Helena, my personal mission is to find a business model, business ecosystem that will clean the Baltic Sea. I don't have the solution yet.
We are looking forward to.
Yes. But if I will find a business opportunity to clean the Baltic Sea, do we have the competence? So if we are a company, we have 100 employees, 10,000 of employees, does our organization have the competence to work in a completely new way? Or do we have to get rid of all the people and hire new people? Do we have the competence? I'll give you an example in the aviation industry. This is a study made by Harvard Business Review already 10 years ago. This was a comparison between the large airliners in the US. It is an extremely highly competed industry, very low margins. American Airlines, Delta, Northwest, United is a growing airline at that time, and Southwest Airlines being the smallest airline of them all. We're now looking at Southwest. And Southwest wanted to disrupt. They wanted to do things differently, but how can they do it? It is an extreme regulation industry. So it's highly regulated, extremely highly regulated. So how can we do things differently? In the aviation industry, there is clear regulations that you need to do an announcement before the plane takes off. And you need to announce like certain things, the exit row and all that kind of stuff. But the regulation does not say how you need to announce it. This is a video from Southwest Airlines steward making a regular pre-flight announcement.
You guys with me? All right. So give me a stomp, clap, stomp, clap. Come on, stomp, clap, stomp, clap. Stay on beat there. There you go. Keep that going. This is Flight 372 on SWA. The flight attendants on board serving you today. Teresa in the middle, David in the back. My name is David and I'm here to tell you that shortly after takeoff, first things first, there's soft drinks and coffee to quench your thirst. But if you want another kind of drink, then just holler. Alcoholic beverages will be $4. If a Monster energy drink is your plan, that'll be $3 and you get the whole can. We won't take your cash, you gotta pay with plastic. If you have a coupon, then that's fantastic. We know you're ready to get to new places. Open up the bins, put away your suitcases. Carry on items, go under the seat in front of you, so none of you have things by your feet. If you have a seat on the road with the exit, we're gonna talk to you, so you might as well expect it. You gotta help evacuate in case we need you. If you don't want to, then we're gonna reseat you. Before we leave, our advice is put away your electronic devices. Fasten your seatbelt, then put your trays up. Press the button to make the seat back raise up. Sit back, relax, have a good time. It's almost time to go, so I'm done with the rhyme. Thank you for the fact that I wasn't ignored. This is Southwest Airlines. Welcome aboard. Thank you very much for my beat. I appreciate that. You will not get that on United Airlines, I guarantee.
You will not get that on United Airlines, I guarantee you that. Herb Kelleher was the CEO of Southwest at that time, and that kind of customer experience would be completely impossible to manage or to plan. There are dozens of thousands of employees. Nobody can go say that, David, you go rap. What Herb Kelleher did is that he made crystal clear the direction, the strategy of the company to maximize the passenger experience, to maximize the passenger's travel experience. That was one sentence which was crystal clear to every single employee. And then Herb Kelleher, he burned, literally he burned the guideline book of the airline. There were no guidelines, no rules. Each employee was able to use their own huge unknown set of competencies to address that one goal. So what happened now? That's fun, that's cool, that's nice, but we are in the strict business world where we have KPIs and reporting and all of that. Southwest Airlines outperformed all the other airlines in every single business measurement. In every single business measurement. The hard numbers. Just by giving the freedom, giving the understanding to the people that this is where we want to go, and not managing at all. Giving a complete freedom for the people to find the solution. In the same way as in music, so this is my final point. In the same way as in music, we can make multiple different songs with the same chords. I'm arguing that with the existing competencies that our people already have, we can make new businesses. I'm a pianist myself, so a short example. This is the C chord flow, how a lot of pop songs are made. So you have C. So we have C, G, then you have A minor, and then you have F major. So this same. These are the four basic chords. These are the competencies that we already possess in our organization, in our study group, in our university. I will not play the video entirely, but few minutes. This is a great video showing how these same competencies, same chords, and even in the same order are used to make unlimited amount of hit music, popular music that we listen every day.
Recognize this?
Yeah, that's Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
And the cast of Glee? Yeah, there's a few more songs with the same chords. Check it out. My life is brilliant, my love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. People kill and people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Won't you turn the other cheek? Forever young, I wanna be forever young. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm your lipstick stains on the front lobe of my left side brains. I knew I wouldn't forget you if I could. Then I would. I'd go wherever you will go. Can you feel the love tonight? Nobody wants to see us together, but it don't matter, no. 'Cause I got
country
you.
road, take me home to the place where I belong.
I'm your biggest fan, I'll follow you until you love me. Papa,
I can't believe.
So you get the idea. If you want to see that video, it's on YouTube, Axis of Awesome. The point here is that in the same way as they made unlimited amount of new songs with the same chords, in the same way, just by rethinking our business, we can use our existing competencies in our organization to do these new businesses. So now coming to the end, solving grand challenges by rethinking business. This was the key point. Now we spent exactly 52 minutes on the problem. So if we sum up and think of the solutions, the first solution is that spend 55 minutes on the problem, 5 minutes on the solution. Rethink your business. That's the way how to change the world. Let go of control and just experiment. And accept fear. Don't try to control fear, accept fear. Accept that the new business, the new experiment is uncertain, it's unpredictable. Accepting fear is courage. And people find solutions. We just need to let them do it. In the Chinese language, there is no difference between a crisis and an opportunity. These grand challenges, they are a treasure box for new businesses. We just need to make it a business. If it sounds impossible, we just need to remember that impossible is just something no one has done before.